Pastors, ladies and gentlemen, it gives me great pleasure to be here this evening. I had a very interesting citation. I'm probably the only person who's been in public service for almost 15 years, and her citation reads her parents' biography. That's I must upgrade it, because I asked Nancy where they got that from, and she said the internet. That's very interesting, so I have to upgrade that. Thank you for pointing it out. This evening is to celebrate Sonye Allanah. I must confess, I'd never heard about Toastmasters. I'm not even going to pretend I'd heard about them. But having heard what it is the Toastmasters is about, and what you do, and what you intend to do, and how it started, I wish I was a member before I joined public service, and maybe I wouldn't have needed 12 years to get to the point where I could communicate somewhat effectively. I want to start with a quote from George Bernard Shaw, and he says that the single biggest problem about communicating is the illusion that communication has taken place. That's very interesting, and I just came upon that when I was called upon to talk about effective communication in leadership. I feel very honored to be here, as I said, and since I left public service, I was just telling Nancy that since I left public service, I've been invited several times to give talks, and I think that it is validation that I probably did something right in the house, so I'd like to thank you very much. Of course, I want to celebrate Sonye Allanah. Again, at 60, you look absolutely stunning. I hope that when I'm 60, I just turned 50, I hope that when I'm 60, I look anything like you. And I think it's very important that this conversation is going on here today. Communication secrets, effective communication for leaders. I have since learned that it is impossible for you to be a leader of any sort if you don't communicate properly. And a lot of people talk about the fact that all of us in the National Assembly just talk. And it's very interesting that, we've had to make the distinction between talking and communicating. Because they say we talk or we speak to the gallery, and very few of us, they say, communicate. And this is not me tooting my horn, but the reason I'm here must be because I'm one of the very few communicators. I have come to realize over time that effective communication is taught in school, in the literary and debating societies. They teach us to talk. And I was on the debating society in Federal Way. And then what they taught us was about enunciation, vocabulary, presence, delivery, grammar, syntax, and the like. In other words, we were taught to focus on ourselves. How do you come across? But then over time, what they don't teach you in effective communication is the fact that it has absolutely nothing to do with you. That the reason I stand here today is not because of syntax, it is because you understand what it is I've said to you. And so effective communication in leadership has been about what I have been able to say to you. And I'm going to borrow the anecdotal style of Ustaz Ali and tell one story. A very good friend of mine, whose name I shall not mention in this room for obvious reasons, because I didn't tell him I was going to be gossiping about him, was called upon to deliver a speech, and he's absolutely eloquent, very educated, very eloquent, had presence, grasp of the issues, and so went to deliver this speech, and it was an absolutely fabulous speech. But I think the problem, and I said it to him, was that he thought he was standing on the green marble podium of the United Nations. And so when he finished, I said to him, fantastic speech, wrong audience. And so even though it was a fantastic speech with syntax and all that, he didn't communicate. And so that is a failing in leadership. But we're going to talk about leaders who have communicated We talk about Winston Churchill, we quote him, and so many things have been ascribed to him, even things he didn't say. We talk about Winston Churchill, we talk about Obama, you just spoke about Obama. We talk about Nelson Mandela and the passion with which he says nothing and yet makes it seem as if he's saying everything. We talk about Hillary Clinton and her style, but she wasn't much of an orator. But then I'm going to speak about somebody who we don't agree, who we don't like, but who we must acknowledge was a great orator. Adolf Hitler.
Yes, he was a
Adolf Hitler managed to tell the world to hate everybody and made us think it was the good thing to do. Lenin managed to kill his way through Russia and convince the people that he was building a strong society. And so even the worst people, as far as leadership is concerned, are the best communicators. And that is why communication is so important in leadership, because it makes me do what I want to do and makes me think that I'm doing the right thing. It even makes you look forward to doing what it is I want you to do. But a lot of people will also say to you that it is important for us to communicate. And, you know, for a leader to be able to communicate, you must be clear in your mind what it is you're trying to say. For a leader, and I was talking with Allanah, and I'm going to be turning the pages of this paper. You know, I had that conversation with Mercy, and she gave me a short lecture and an admonition about the fact that I was killing the planet because I was using paper. I was very unapologetic because I still like to scribble and I like to doodle. So a lot of people will listen to you. It's important that as a leader, you don't speak from both sides of your mouth, because then you're untrustworthy. And once you're untrustworthy, you shut out the communication. Nobody's listening to you anymore because you're untrustworthy. So you build trust, and then you start to sound eloquent. Because if you're eloquent and people don't trust you, you won't communicate. I delivered the keynote speech. It was called the graduation speech at the AUN, the commencement speech. I was the commencement speaker. And I went to my 14-year-old son, who's very cheeky, and I said to him, I said, you know, son, I'm going to deliver the commencement speech at the American University. What do you think I should do? He said, Ma, keep it brief, keep it short, and be relatable. And by the way, he'd never delivered a speech of any sort in his life, so I don't know where he got that from. And I'll tell you another reason I communicate. Everybody asks me why I wear Ankara, and why I cover my hair, and why I'm not adorned. And I say to them, you can't want to communicate with 200 people, 70% of who live below the poverty line. Tell them to trust you, and you look as if you're going to your child's wedding. As a leader, you must reflect the critical mass if you want them to listen to you. And the truth of the matter is that, you know, he was telling us a very interesting story about the cows and the Fulani man boy. And I thought he was going to end up by saying, let's all become cows, but of course that wasn't happening. But let me say that, you know, the people you want to communicate with as a leader just want you to be empathetic. They just want to know that you feel them. Bill Clinton, there's a book I have, and I'm a very eclectic reader. I read all kinds of stuff. And, you know, that book is If You Could Say One Thing. And Bill Clinton, when they asked him the secret to what he does, he said, it is one South African word, and it means Sawubona. Now, in South Africa, when they say hello, they say Sawubona. And we all think it means hello. Sawubona actually means I see you. And so, as a leader, to communicate with people, Sawubona, you must see them. Because it is often said that people don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. So, Sawubona, I see you. Of course, a lot of people say as leaders that we walk around with the sirens, or they walk around with sirens, and they build walls around themselves. Oh my goodness, it's over. Well, I'm going to round up. She showed me the red card. Oh my goodness, I'm sorry, I didn't notice the other colors. I'm colorblind. But let me say that I'm sure we'll have opportunities to have longer conversations, because this wasn't the keynote speech, just a conversation, and I am very grateful for the opportunity that you gave me to speak today. Thank you.